you've heard this, you heard it this morning, the monetization of data, okay? A lot of what we do is trying to figure out the data is the gold. And what we do in terms of trying to build the networks is only the vehicle to produce that information, that intellectual property, which is valuable. So that's what you have to keep remembering. Now, those data sets are gigantic. And I just want to put some numbers. It's difficult to wrap your head around it, but I was trying to do this based off the numbers this morning. So here are some numbers. 1 billion users is 10 to the 9th. 100 megabits per second is 10 to the 8th. You multiply those together, it's 10 to the 17th bits per second. The number of grains of sand in the entire world, 10 to the 18th. Okay? Every 10 seconds, you're generating more bits in those mobile devices than the entire number of grains of sand in the world. Okay? That should be sobering to anybody trying to figure out how to manage this. So, the data sets are unlike anything encountered, both in the scale of them and in how they want to be processed. And monetizing that, making money out of that raw data is useless in many aspects. How you figure out how to process it to produce information that can be monetized is different than large-scale scientific computing, which has driven a lot of other types of large-scale computing in the past. Okay? The networking requirements, because the data sets are different and because what you wish to do with the data sets are different, drives a lot of different requirements for the network to support those applications. And those network requirements are different than networks that have traditionally been built for high-performance computing, because the data sets are different and because what you want to do with the data sets are different. Okay? And you need to understand all of those things if you want to build a network that can support those kinds of applications. That's the bad news. The good news is there's lots of opportunity for innovation, because what they want to do with these data sets is like nothing we've seen before. For every query that goes into Google, that one query generates anywhere from 100 to 1,000 to up to 10,000 unique queries within the data center. So you get what's called this amplification issue, that whatever you calculate, say it's 10 gigabits per second going into the data center, you can take that number and multiply it by factors of 1,000 to 10,000 to figure out what the networking requirements are inside the data center. And that's very simple. That one request spawns all these other requests to go get the information, bring it back to the one server that's processing your request, and then distribute it to you. And for anyone who uses Facebook and starts traveling around the world and you start uploading your photos, think of where those photos are residing when you have to assemble your Facebook page with photos that you've uploaded in various locations. How does Facebook go out and get all that information and assemble that page? It's not easy. And Facebook actually tries to keep as much of the pertinent information that it needs very close, in other words, in main memory. They really do not try to put any of that information in disk, because it actually takes too long to access. So this is what we would call the front end problem. But the front end problem pales in comparison to the back end. The back end problem is where, as I said, all the money's made. So it's back end analytics. It's semantics that we've heard people talk about. Is if you bought this, you might like this. If you're going to this location, you might like this restaurant. How do you do that on the fly as people are moving around with their mobile devices? And this is a question that people asked: is that processing being done locally on the iPhone or on the Android-enabled phone, or is it being done back end? If it's Siri, it's all being done back end. For anyone you know, if you don't have a network connection, you don't have Siri. All those requests are being serviced offline, not on the iPhone. And this is the key differentiator. This is the difference between Buy.com and Amazon. This is why Amazon's been successful, is because they understood this analytics early on in the game.